welcome everyone to another episode of the Spread the Positive podcast. I'm your host, Trent Denson. Got a really special guest with us today, Miss Mary Hyatt out of Nashville, another Middle Tennessee folk here in the area. She's actually a life and business mind coach who specializes in helping high-achieving female entrepreneurs move from the burnout to living a life of true purpose and living their best life. So very in line with everything Spread the Positive. I'm super excited to hear her speak on all the mindset and all the stuff we get into on the typical Spread the Positive topics. So Mary, welcome to the show.
Hey, Trent. No, this is so great to be here. And it's fun to be like hanging with another Tennessean. It's awesome.
Right. It is, man. It is. So yeah, typically how we do it, we like to take it all the way back. What young Mary was like, early passions, what childhood was like, and just kind of what shaped you into what your current life is like.
Yeah. So sweet little baby Mary. I think about like, I really am the same person. It's funny when you think about how you were when you were little, but I mean, the truth is, I was like a total entrepreneur from day one. I remember my dad having a book that he gave us that was about children and the kinds of businesses they could create as kids. And so I was always eager to find ways to give value to people, whatever that looked like. I remember my dad was an entrepreneur. He had a business in our house growing up, and it was feast or famine. I mean, it was like learning very early on that this journey can be challenging. It can be hard, especially when you're passionate about something. Sometimes the money takes a while to meet up with that. And so in my own little way, I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to start a business where I give my daddy 2 employees that worked at our house. I'm going to give them like a coffee station, and I'm going to charge them for it. And so I set it all up, and I had my little spoons right there, and I had their coffee and the creamer and all the different things. And that lasted for about 3 days before my dad was like, I'm paying for the coffee, so I'm not going to like additionally pay you for it as well. But I thought it was really clever.
Hey, that's clever.
So, yeah. So I was always an enthusiastic kid and very active. I was a fabulous student.
Nice.
I just had a lot of energy and zest for life. Like it was one of those things that I'm a middle child of 5 girls. Yeah. And you can imagine the hormones that
middle child of 5?
Man,
yeah. Bless your parents for sure.
My poor dad.
I know. I was about to say.
He always says he suffers from estrogen poisoning. So, but he was great. I mean, he was just like the perfect dad for girls, and just so empathetic and tender. And, but I got to learn a lot about business from him as well. Yeah. And so now he's an insanely successful entrepreneur and speaker and New York Times bestselling author and things like that. But growing up, he started out, at least when I was little, he was a Christian music manager for Christian artists. And then he was in book publishing for a long time. So he had his own publishing company, and then he went on to be the president and then the CEO of Thomas Nelson, which was the largest Christian publishing company out there. Wow. And then started his own business, and now talks about leadership and productivity and things like that. So
amazing.
Yeah, it's been cool to see, like, okay, here's my dad on the verge of bankruptcy, and then to see him as the success that he is now. I mean, what I love is that from an early age, I got to learn about positivity. Nice. I got to learn, like, every single day we would be eating dinner as a family back when that was a thing, Right. Mm-hmm. And my mom, she was amazing. She, when we were little, she would always ask us, what was the best thing that ever happened to you today? What was the best thing that happened to you today? And we had to answer that question. We had to find something good in our day. And I remember there were several occasions where we were like, oh, we don't have anything, like complaining. Yeah. And she would say, well, if you did have something, what would it be? If you did know, what would it be? And so we never got away with not answering the question, which was so cool. I mean, it was just so amazing to be able to practice that art of finding the good in your
Yes.
day. Even if there's challenging days, there's some kind of gift in the day. And so I grew up in that kind of environment of striving for what you were passionate about, kind of
Oh,
continually getting up and redoing it. When you fall, when you fail, let's go again.
right.
And so I really feel like now, and the work that I do as a life coach is a byproduct of that. And not to say that it was a perfect childhood, because we were broke as a joke most of life growing up. There was
Yeah.
hard things that went on, but we had these little pillars
Yeah.
of finding the good amidst the difficult.
Man, that's such a blessing. I can relate on a lot of levels. My parents definitely did that stuff for me too, and it's such a blessing to have that at a young age, and
Yeah.
just being able to always fall back on that. It's something that's it's really powerful, and I'm super grateful for having that instilled in me in a very young age. So I can totally relate to that, and
Yeah.
obviously it's a huge part of what everything that's come from Spread the Positive and continues to come from Spread the Positive. So yeah, that's it's such a blessing to be able to have that. So yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
So go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into the life coaching and your business now, current life. What's that look like?
Yeah. So, gosh, I'm so grateful that my journey has led me here, because I think sometimes, especially when we think about positivity or we think about people who do this work professionally, we often assume that their life has been just easy the whole way through, or that this is something that just comes naturally to them. And
Yeah,
I love that I get to do this work, because in so many ways I fought to
yeah,
do this work, and I feel like I am a really gifted coach
yes,
because I've been through a lot of stuff in my life.
yeah,
And if you were to rewind the clock like 7-8 years ago, my life looked completely different. I was
100%.
dealing with
Mm.
horrible depression and anxiety.
Oh,
I was 70 pounds heavier than I am now. I was in a dysfunctional marriage.
wow,
I was dealing with autoimmune disease. And it was like a matter truly of life and death to kind of choose a way through. And I can remember this moment of being like, I have got to believe there's more to life than this survival, this struggle, this misery,
yeah,
and made a really brave choice to fight for it, to fight to be alive. And
yeah,
so the work that I get to do now is helping women primarily who are at a place in their life where they're experiencing so much burnout. And I typically work with female entrepreneurs, so they're hustling, they're doing all this work, they at one point believed in their purpose and their passion, and usually when I find them, they're like so over it and they are done, and their relationships are suffering, their relationship to their body and self-care is suffering. And yet they're because they're hustlers, because they've created these businesses, they're used to pushing, they're used to doing all this stuff, and yet there's something missing in their
yeah,
life. And so that's where I get to come in and help kind of uncover what the root is to why they feel this need to achieve and to prove themselves, and help them bring back some femininity
yeah,
into the way they're approaching life, to bring back some ease
yeah,
and some self-love, some self-care into the mix. That translates to a more successful business, to a more successful personal life, which is like, I mean, gold when you can get
yeah,
that, and it
yeah,
shifts and changes everything. So I work with clients one-on-one. I do group coaching. I have a podcast that I do every week called the Living Fully Life
yeah. Man,
podcast.
my bad. I was supposed to be in the intro. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Yeah,
I love it. I mention it because I love it. I mean, I know
yeah.
like you, Trent,
I
it's
really
like
get it, man.
there's so much enjoyment in
Yeah,
getting to spread this kind of energy, and that it's received, and that there are
yeah,
people that want to hear it and they're
right.
listening. It's
Yes,
awesome, you know?
yes,
And so, yeah, so, I mean, I think that for me, it's helping women create that.
yeah,
And really, I mean, this is just true for all humans. It doesn't have to be women, but for
yeah,
all of us to create this pause, this sacred pause of checking in and saying like, how am I doing?
yeah,
Like, where am I at here? Where am I in this whole mix? I know I'm doing and I'm creating, I'm achieving, but where am I, my person, my essence, my whole self? And connect with that version of ourselves, connect with ourself, um, and begin to create new habits and routines around our truest self and being aligned with that version.
Wow, man, that's powerful. And
Yeah.
totally, again, I feel like you're just kind of saying a lot of everything I've experienced and gone through, and where I'm at too. And I think I've said this a lot on the podcast here lately. I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but just with everything going on pandemic wise, and just the world shutting down, and all that's come from that, and the clarity that so many people or I'm hoping, for me, it's really helped me get to a place of clarity and understanding of what I'm truly supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, for the first time ever in my life. Like I've done, it's taken me almost 10 years to really get to where spread the positive is even something I understand, let alone I can, go out and tell other people about, or want other people to be involved with. And, the podcast has been going since, 2018. So that's been a constant, and probably like the biggest thing ever. Just to be able to do something consistent, like you said, it's just so awesome to be able to connect with people that truly buy into, what spread the positive is, what live fully alive is all about. I mean, the similarities and synergies with that is, it's, so synonymous, really. So it's amazing. And I hope and pray for people to actually take this time that we're having, and as crazy as it all has been, it's it really is just a great reset. Like that's all this whole thing is. And I've gotten so clear on that, and I'm so grateful for all that. I know that's like probably the biggest thing you do day in and day out with your work. That's just got to be so rewarding.
It is. And I think that it's deep soul work.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that this time has taught me is that it's like a great opportunity for the reset. And I love that perspective of being like, we have this opportunity to look at what's working, what's not working. What have we been doing because it's been in default, or we're doing because everybody else around us is doing it. But what is it that is really our calling, our purpose in life, and with our business? And that's deep work. Like, it is hard. It's like, it's like, it is. It's like, let us dismantle and rip apart everything that was a false sense of safety and security. And let's go in and address the pain body. Let's go in and address these things that we have ignored or denied or stuffed down or repressed. And I feel like so much of that is coming up right now for everyone, myself included. And it's humbling. I mean, there's a part of this work that I feel like is this reminder that we are the student. The reminder that we are here to have this human experience, which includes pain and includes challenge. And I think sometimes the false positivity message that we get fed often is that we're supposed to be happy all the time. And I think that we're learning that it's kind of like Man's Search for Meaning, that book. It's almost like, how in the midst of these really challenging circumstances can we find those moments of peace and those moments of safety and security, those moments of joy, and yet that is sandwiched between grief and sadness and heartbreak and heartache and things that are not easy. And I know that my mantra going through this is I can do hard things. Like, I can do hard things. And just like having to repeat that on a daily basis, sometimes an hour by hour basis, of like, I can do hard things. And knowing that it is okay to experience that discomfort and to experience some of these less than maybe ideal moments of that heartbreak or the grief or the challenge or whatever. And in some ways that contrast creates this just beautiful ability to be in the present moment and to just keep inviting ourselves to feel what is now, what is here with myself in this room, in this moment. And I don't know about you, Trent, but like, it's just been such an invitation into the present, like over and over.
Yeah, I could. Yes, just yes to all of that. Absolutely. And, it's definitely been like that for me too. And I think so many others are really getting there. And I think that's like the most exciting part about all of this. I've said it for a long time. I knew something similar was going to happen. You never can imagine what we've just gone through. Like, literally the craziest time in human history. I mean, it's so crazy.
It's so crazy.
But at the same time, like, something had to give, something had to happen, and it's exciting to see, even through the uncertainty and the craziness and, you know, the divisiveness that we're fed so much of. It's really becoming clear the right types of people are going to come together for the right reasons, to do the right
Yep.
things, to get to the next level of, you know, society. And it's deep, like you said. It's some,
Yes.
like, really, really deep things to be aware of and be conscious of, and being, you know, just being aware of those things and wanting, like, I've been so focused on being on the right side of that, you know, like,
Yep.
no matter what, just do what's right, be there for people, stand up, you know, stand up for what is right. And
Yep.
you're gonna be okay. And I guarantee you, I'm sure that's everything you tell all of your clients and all the people you work with, is just
Yeah.
having that clarity and knowing that you're doing things for the right reason. Everything else will take care of itself. So yeah, it's powerful. It's so powerful this time, and just what we're all experiencing on different levels is, it's insane. But yeah, let's get back on a couple of the typical topics we always like to hit. Being a mindset and life coach, got to ask you kind of one of the key components of Spread the Positive. Like you said, it's not all gumdrops and rainbows. You're gonna feel your feels. You have to feel your feels. It's
Yep.
ridiculously important to, you know, feel everything, and not be ashamed, and let your guilt, you know, kill you. Like, you can't do that. So like you said, it's important to recognize that things aren't always great, but aiming and erring on the side of having a positive, optimistic mindset will help the cause. So,
Yeah.
like, what are some of your, I always call it the tools in the toolbox, to kind of, you know, be able to maintain a more positive mindset or optimistic outlook, whatever you want to call it, even when it's, you know, really difficult and things are falling apart and all that.
Yeah, you know, for me, it is all about the energy that I'm surrounding myself with. And so right now, there are so many voices and everything feels so loud.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is from social media and the news and everything. And it's depressing. It weighs on me. It can be really exhausting. And so I think for me, it's like this constant realignment. It's like, oh, I find myself in this position where I'm getting stressed out, or I'm feeling anxious or fearful or hopeless or whatever it might be. And I think part of this journey for me, and part of my own personal practice, has been this mindfulness kind of consciousness work. And part of that is recognizing when I have become out of alignment. When, if you think about a spine that's like straight up and down in alignment, and a disc goes out, that causes pain, it causes tension, it causes suffering. And so it's like, ooh, here I am, I'm noticing without judgment, like, yeah, this doesn't feel good right now. I'm feeling way down. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling like I want to just stay in bed all day.
Right.
To me, those are the sort of like little warning signs that say, hey, Mary, you are out of balance. You are out of alignment. And recognizing, okay, what's contributing to that? And creating boundaries. Like,
Yep.
I know that for me, so much of my work right now to kind of come back into a space of staying in the light is creating energetic boundaries. And so that looks like I've had to reduce a lot of the people that I've been spending time with. So if there are people in my life who are kind of buying in to the fear narrative, it's like I can't afford to have those conversations anymore, because it just like I'm running thin as it is.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've got to guard and protect myself energetically from that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And so it's like even just surrounding myself with people who are having this kind of outlook that is more positive, that is hopeful, that is choosing to see this as a necessary and beautiful opportunity of rebirthing, and who can be honest about, you know, that this is not easy, but that are, again, aiming towards the light. So for me, that's even like in my social media right now, especially, it's curating that sucker like crazy, like unfollowing people, muting people, making sure that what I'm seeing and what I'm consuming is going to bring me closer to realignment versus throwing me out of alignment more. So I think honestly, like the boundary piece of this, more than ever, like I've always believed, I mean, I'm a follower of Tony Robbins and you know, Jim Rohn and people like that, you know, who've always said, okay, you're the average of the 5 closest people to you. And I've preached that, I've taught that, I believe that. And I feel like now more than ever, God, that is like, whoa, hitting home in such a different way. And so for me, it's like, who are those 5 people that I'm surrounding myself with? Who am I letting into my mind on a daily basis? And is that giving me health, or is that creating additional fear? And to me, fear is what I feel like I am having to put up some boundaries with right now, big time, because there's just such a narrative of that. So what I'm consuming, boundaries. And then for me, I'm a big meditator. And so I feel like that has become even more so a non-negotiable in my life of like, I have got to meditate and connect to the light, and that meditation. And I have a lot of this that I teach. I'm a yoga instructor and meditation teacher. Cool. And so for me, this has been a practice of mine for many, many years, but I'm noticing that even just giving that to my online membership members or to my coaching clients, it's like that beautiful shared energy is powerful too. So not only doing it as my own, like calling in that light, connecting to that source of light, flooding my body, my blood, my tissues, my bones, everything with that light, and becoming like expansive and magnetic in that light, but then sharing that with other people and magnifying that energy as well. So it's a lot of like energy maintenance, I would say.
That's amazing. I didn't know about the yoga teacher stuff. That's amazing. When do you, or how do you start your day? What's your morning routine like?
So this is funny. For the longest time, I was real in judgment for myself for not having a morning routine. And so now I've really like given myself permission to have variety versus needing like a strict, like every day I do this and every day I do this. So I'm my brand is all about intuitive living, connecting to self. And so that's what I do. Like literally every morning I pause, and the thing that is similar is that I just check in. So that looks like hand on my heart, close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, and ask myself, okay, what do I need? And that morning could be, I'm really feeling like I need to go on a walk, or I need to go to the gym, or maybe this morning it looks like sitting down and reading and journaling. It looks like meditating. So literally every day it's different, but I think the consistent part is the check-in, the personal check-in.
And that's first thing when you wake up, you just take that moment.
I mean, you know, after I pee, after I brush my teeth, you know, all that, you know, all the good stuff. But no, that it is because I think it's important for me to check in. And I've also realized too, as an entrepreneur, in my own person, I have a lot of energy, creative energy in the first part of my day. So oftentimes I will move my body usually in some way. And then early on am working, and I end my day pretty early. So I end at about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I have my whole afternoon, evening free. And so I like to do like a big chunk of work in the morning, and that's where I get my most creativity and my energy surge. So I've kind of had to like recognize that too in myself, like, oh, this is the way that I work best. And so some of those journaling or the meditating or the reading, that comes later in my afternoon and evening as opposed to the morning.
Gotcha. That's really cool. I really appreciate that. And I kind of do a version of that myself. I got a few things that are kind of non-negotiable starting the day, but for the most part, mine's pretty similar to that too. Just being able to be flexible, and like you said, just having the time to check in and get your mind right. Like that has to happen, like that. 15 minutes of like being intentional about what you want to happen is the biggest thing ever. And doing that before you go to bed, like that's really really helped me here lately even more. But some of the things that I've just really pushed to do for a long time, and it's like I said, just non-negotiable. I have to do that, or the day will get really weird really quick. So
totally.
but another kind of one of the key questions or just a key aspect to Spread the Positive is the bigger picture, community oriented, not in it for yourself per se. Obviously the Live Fully Alive podcast, like the community and the culture that you built with that. I'm sure the same like with your online membership.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that that's something that's very important to you. Can you just speak on why that is and how you always keep that focus?
Yeah. I think for me, and again, it goes back to typically, I feel like the work that we do is the medicine that we need. And it's because of our own journeys that we do the work that we do. And that usually, most of the time, is birthed out of struggle. Yep. And so I'm an Enneagram 2, if you're familiar with Enneagram. Yep. So like I'm the total helper. Yep. And I've always just had this heart for people who are going through it. Yeah. Like there are some people who want to do more work that is like, let's say, strategic in the sense of, okay, let me help you build your business and create funnels and do all these things. And for me, my dad like laughs because he goes, "Oh, you're a SHIT sitter." And I said, "Yeah, like that's totally me." He's like, "You actually want to sit in people's SHIT with them, And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. Like, I want to be in the muck with people. I want to be in that moment where it just feels like you can't go on. And I want to bring in that light. And it doesn't always have to be that big and that grand and that intense, but it's like, there is part of me that feels really called to bring in hope and bring in light and to remind people that they are enough. And because that has been such a huge part of my journey to get to this place of, and it's daily work, it's a spiritual practice, but of deeply believing that I am lovable just because I breathe. Like, I don't have to earn it. I don't have to work for it. That like the fact that I exist, I am lovable. And we forget that. Like, to me, like the collective human suffering is because we believe we're not enough. And so I just have that just real deep, I don't know, it feels like a calling on my life of, I want to help people remember their enoughness. And so whether it's through the podcast, whether it's through the membership, whether it's in my community, like I do a lot of different hosting things in Nashville and have different groups that I bring together. Like we just did a movie night last week and we watched True Justice, which is all about Bryan Stevenson's fight for justice and equality. And, we talk about racial injustice. We talked about what it looks like to have white supremacy. And, these are tough, hard conversations. And yet I love being able to hold space for the tough and the hard conversations and like say everyone's welcome here. So I think that that's kind of my gift in the world is to hold space for that in many, many different ways.
Man, that is, yes. Thank you. First of all, thank you for doing all that. And again, I feel like you're just talking about what I've done my whole life.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I don't even know. Sometimes it feels like I just have like a sign on my head, like, tell me what you're hurting about. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this, but I'm here for you. And we'll talk through it. So I'll random, like my whole life, I'm not exaggerating. My whole life, like my parents and family have like always like been like, why does that happen to you? But I'm like, I don't know, but it definitely does. Like I'm saying like random strangers, just spilling their guts to me. And I'm like,
wow,
not sure what to do with this right now, but I hear you, you're heard, you're good.
And honestly, isn't that so much of what it is? Like just people needing to be heard. Like
100%.
I hear you. I mean, or like that, those 3 words, I hear you and I see you, are the most powerful things I think you can say to anybody.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that, I guess I'm a shit sitter as well.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I could like actually cuss on the show, so I spelled it out.
Speak your truth. We always encourage that. So yeah, that is so good. Yeah, your dad's spot on. Sounds like with both of us. I want to get involved with your events like that. That sounds amazing. And definitely in line with what we're trying to do. And that sounds amazing. Awesome. So thank you for doing that. First of all, that is Spread the Positive. And we always say there's no labels. Everybody no labels, just on a human level, no religion, race, orientation, anything like that. Let's
Yep.
just, if you're down for making things better around you, you're good. You're good in my book. And that's
Love
all
that.
it comes down to. So, man, that is so good.
Mm.
But yeah, man, just moving right along. We always, another one, that is kind of the biggest aspect, the tagline, everything with Spread the Positive is bringing light to what's going right. So with what you just said, that's an incredible example of what I would consider going right, bringing people together to have those hard combos, to get to the bottom of real systematic things that have been fundamentally flawed for so long, that we've known about for so long. And just doing that is the most textbook example of what's going right in my eyes. But if you could just speak on a couple of either people, organizations, articles you've seen, initiatives, social media things, anything that you would consider going right, what would you say to that?
I mean, I feel like there's so much that's going right. I mean, I think one of the things that is really beautiful right now, and it's not there's so many people that would need to be named in this, but I think as a general saying is that, at least in my circles, and I think it's, again, sort of who I'm choosing to surround myself with, is that I do feel like that white people in particular are waking up to these issues. And I think that the reality is we have not had a great example of true education and right education that has included the entire story, what's happened in our country. And I think that even though this has been a really hard time, I think for a lot of people, white people in particular, in the waking up to it, sort of like drinking from a fire hose. I think it's really beautiful to see, myself included, like the willingness to be wrong and to learn and to be that student. And I think that what hasn't happened in our past is that sort of like ability to say, listen, I don't actually know, and I am ignorant, and being nice isn't enough, and being inclusive isn't enough. And I think that it's really, really amazing to see white people in particular. I'm saying that because I can speak because I'm white from that place, is that more and more, I think that white people are waking up to that. And I feel like that's what's going right. Do we have so much work to do? Oh my God, yes. Do we have so much that we need to be in lament over and like repentance of, and like sobering kind of like acknowledgement of? Yes. I mean, this is hundreds and hundreds of years of wrongs that we're not going to make right in a week, or even years. I mean, this is deep work. And yet I think that, at least in my own life, it's like this consistent re-enrollment to be willing to see what's hard and uncomfortable and sit with the fact that, like, wow, I've done a lot of this stuff that I didn't even know I was doing out of ignorance and privilege, and willing to look at it. And so I think, I mean, that's really a beautiful thing. It's like a sobering thing and a beautiful thing. And I don't mean to pat white people on the back, because the truth is this is way overdue. So it's not like, good job, white people, but I think that it is encouraging, at least, and hopeful. And I hope that we all continue to re-enroll in that work of justice.
Man, again, just yes to all that. And been dealing, I mean, I've always been that guy to, like, I'm the token liberal guy because I don't buy into like everything Bible Belt white Christian crazy, like, and I'm cool. Like, I've always been cool with being that guy and getting called out, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But I will say, you can't say that. You, like, that is not okay. Like,
right.
It's like you said, it's some difficult conversations, and friendships come and go because of that, and that's fine as well. And just got a lot of stuff here lately, in particular, that has been, I mean, on some stuff that I've never seen, never experienced, and it's been extremely challenging. But like you said, it is really beautiful in that sense that like you said, a lot of the stuff that we think we're not doing or haven't done, or people in our immediate circle or family or anything like that, that we got to check that. We have to check that, and we have to switch it up yesterday. Like it doesn't have a place here, especially moving forward. And with I mean, it's just been wild. It's been so crazy, but I'm so thankful for that too. And I've really gone through it on a level that I haven't been familiar with at all. And it's been so hard, but so amazing too. And so liberating, to be honest. Like it's really set me free. And again, just like some crazy, crazy clarity on like who I am and who I am moving forward, and, you know, what I've been in the past. And, you know, it's a crazy, crazy feeling. And it's been amazing. And I'm, again, just super grateful for it all. I know that you can totally relate to a lot of that. So, man, that's a really good example of what's going right for sure. Cause, yeah, like you said, we're nowhere close and we got a lot of work to do, but we've made some big strides here lately. And it's, and the people that don't get on board are gonna get, like, they're gonna get left. Like, I hate to use the word eliminated, but it's almost like that. Like there won't be a place for that. And I'm proud, again, just to be on the right side of this, just on a human level. It's not hard to love your neighbor, do the Jesus thing, you know, if you like live it out, if you're gonna claim to, like, live it out. So, man, yes to all of that. We got a couple more closing questions I got to get to. When you hear the phrase "spread the positive," and you're familiar with our mission and what we're doing, and, you know, the overall just the overall mission of it all, when you hear that phrase, who's someone in your life that immediately comes to mind?
You know, a mentor of mine and also an author who I've just followed for a long time. His name is Robert Holden.
Nice.
And he is a Hay House author, and he's written a book. He's written several books, but he has written a book called Lovability.
Nice.
And he was kind of the engine behind, like, if you remember years ago, the whole Dove campaign that was about loving everybody, every body size. And it was like the first kind of big company that showed plus size women and women with, you know, stretch marks and all that, which I do a lot of body work. And he is all about authentic success and really coaching these huge companies behind the scenes on how to introduce and bring in more love into large corporations. And I feel like it's amazing. He's just the most precious person. First of all, I've had the opportunity to get to work with him one-on-one over the past year and a half. And he is just one of those people who, no matter literally what is happening in the world, he will bring the conversation back to love. And I mean, his whole life's work, and he is insanely well-known author. I mean, just speaks everywhere, you know, just an incredible human as far as like or his accomplishments go. And yet spending time with him one-on-one, he is the most humble person you could ever meet. And his mission is everything back to love. Like when you can see everything through the lens of love, then your whole world changes. And that's been such a gift for me, of like that realignment of like, I choose to see this through the lens of love, through the eyes of love, and what that shifts, what that changes in myself and other people. When people come against me, when people are combative or they disagree or whatever it might be, it's like when I can choose to come from a place of love, it's a whole different kind of conversation. So he's someone that I always just hear his words in my ear of that idea of coming back to love.
I will check his stuff out right after this.
Awesome. Sounds amazing. He's amazing.
Where's he based out of?
So he's in, he's outside of London. So he's a Brit. Wow. And so what I love is, so Lovability is a book that I would say, like, everybody just go to Amazon, pick it up, purchase it. But he also has it narrated by himself on Audible, which is great because of his British accent. It's like so lovely to listen to his voice.
I got a credit. I might.
Perfect. Do it.
I'll scoop that after this. Man, that's
awesome.
That's crazy that you're like friends or like.
He so he runs these programs and these mastermind groups. So I got to be a part of it, and then we got to spend I met him several years ago, and then we got to spend about 4 days in London last year together. And then we've done this one-on-one coaching as well through this program. And then we have this, what is it? WhatsApp, thread or whatever going back for. I mean, I'm telling you, like, you're just like, people shouldn't have this much access to you kind of thing. You know what I mean? And yet he is just so available and so loving and just, I mean, it's been like huge teacher in my life.
That's incredible. Yeah. I will have to check that out immediately.
Definitely.
That's so good. Another one of the closing questions we always like to ask is something we call the grateful for. 4 things you're most grateful for right now. What you got there?
Yeah. So I am, number one, so grateful for my breath. Like, I think, especially with COVID and everything that's going on right now, like, just that I'm breathing. I mean, God, what a gift just to have like healthy lungs. And so just, being alive is one.
Very solid start.
Yeah. Just that. And then I just got a new office. And so I've been in this office for about 2.5 weeks now. And I'm really grateful for that. Like, just to have the space to do episodes like this and to work with my one-on-one clients. And I do a lot of like guided meditations and do yoga for my membership and things like that. So just to have a space where I can do it all is amazing. So I'm so grateful for that. I am really, really grateful for my sweet family. Like, I can't even tell you, they're just amazing human beings, and the conversations that we're able to have together that are hard, and everybody's really committed to growth and evolving. And that is just like, I know that's rare and such a gift. So I'm really, really grateful for that. And I would say that I am just really grateful for this time, for the pause, for the reset. Like, as hard as it's been, the forcing of it, like we're being forced to do it, has actually been a gift to actually do it. And it's not an option. So I'm grateful for what's come out of that.
Absolutely. That's a really solid grateful for. Very similar to mine right now. I can totally agree with that. So, Mary, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for what you're doing. Definitely I'm hoping to future collabs and just staying in touch and connecting more and all the stuff that can come from this, because it seems like it was supposed to happen. And like I said, just the synergies and what you stand for, and the work you're doing is very similar to what I'm trying to do and doing. So thank you for that. Thank you for the time today. Be sure to check out Live Fully Alive podcast. I can't believe I forgot that in the intro, but I might doctor that up, but go back. But thank you for that. Go ahead and plug anything else that people can find you or get involved with what you're doing, anything like that.
Yeah, no, I think the easiest way to find me is through my website, maryhyatt.com. You can go there. I've got the Living Fully Alive podcast episode. You can subscribe there. And then I'm super involved on Instagram. So if you are an Instagram person like me, find me there, Mary G Hyatt, like Grace, Mary G Hyatt. Okay. Send me a DM, connect with me. Like, I'm very approachable, very available. But yeah, the website you'll find all the goodies there.
Awesome. I'll definitely have all of that in the post and in the notes and all of that. So just thank you, Mary. We're so grateful to have connected with you. Definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, anything else that comes with this. But this was much needed, and I'm very grateful for this combo. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was great. Awesome.